To Virginia's news leader, WVVA News at 5 starts now.
Hello and thank you for joining us. I'm Ben Schwartz. Welcome to WVVA News at 5. While communities in the two Virginias are continuing to recover from last week's severe weather, thousands in our region remain without power. Officials with Appalachian Power say crews are continuing to work around the clock to restore electricity to customers impacted by the weather. More than 5,000 workers from across the U.S. are already on the ground, with additional crews set to arrive today and tomorrow. AEP officials say they're still hoping to get power on for people by 11 p.m. tonight. That is for areas in Bluefield and Tazewell. But people are encouraged to remain patient while crews are working. As of now, power is back on for nearly 75% of those who lost it since the peak of 282,000 on Friday.
That's the most customers we've had out since the derecho storm in 2012, where we got over 500,000. So this is unprecedented for us. We have a lot of people within our company that weren't even with us at that time. So we're all learning a lot of new things and working together to try to get everyone restored.
Appalachian Power says more than 2,600 unique locations across West Virginia, Virginia, and Tennessee are in need of repairs. And over the state line in Tazewell County, it's a similar story, with plenty of folks still without power and water. Tazewell County's administrator says while the flooding has not been as widespread as expected, the winds have created an unprecedented challenge for the county, reaching speeds of 60 to 70 miles an hour. He says it is difficult to assess the total damage because of how widespread it is. That's with the wind causing issues all over the county. A big concern now is the power, with the county struggling to get it back on for many of its residents. With that loss of power also comes a loss of water for some, and the electricity is powering the pumps that keep the water flowing. While things are better looking than before, with communications restored on Saturday and the number of people without power changing by the hour, things are not progressing as fast as county leaders say they would like.
This has been a much more widespread disaster countywide than we've had. And the bigger disaster that's going on elsewhere in the state, in North Carolina, Tennessee, is spreading a lot of the state and federal resources we rely on really thin. So it's taken a little bit longer to recover from this than we had hoped. But we're working hard at it, and we'll all get there eventually.
Young says AEP has been providing regular updates, which estimate that most residents should have their power restored tonight. He is encouraging those who are displaced by the storm to contact the 911 center to get emergency shelter at the Tazewell County Fairgrounds. And as the road to recovery continues, community members are stepping up to help those in need. The Bluefield Union Mission has been working to not only serve its regulars, but also newcomers that are in need of food, clothing, hygiene items, and even emergency shelter due to the storm and subsequent power outages. The mission's director says the past weekend has brought more demand for these resources to numbers that he has not seen before. On Sunday alone, they served more than 200 meals to the community. However, they add locals are stepping up big time, volunteering their time and resources and helping the mission keep up with demand.
Well, I think the true character of the people of Bluefield and the surrounding area really shows, and it shines. This time their hearts really poured out in a way we haven't seen in a long time.
And the Union Mission isn't the only place you can go if you need help. The Tug River Health Association is providing lunches at its North Fork location on Wednesday and its Gary location on Thursday. The Richlands Police Department will have meals, showers, and more this week as well, with a full schedule on their Facebook page. There is also an emergency shelter at the Tazewell County Fairgrounds. And now we will move over to the Weather Center for a first look at what's to come this evening. As always, our Weather Authority Chief Meteorologist Catherine Thompson has us covered. So, Catherine, how are we looking as we head into tonight?
Hey there, Ben. I know the weather hasn't been ideal over the past few days, even though it's been bettering, and it will continue to get better. The weather, since it's been still wet the past few days, too, that kind of slows down our recovery process as well. But we've definitely got some quiet weather on the way now. Just a few lighter scattered showers really on tap tonight and into tomorrow. We actually look dry at the moment on our Princeton camera. Most of us today have been a little cooler than average with the clouds, a few showers around in the 60s and 70s. We actually do have a cold front working through the area as we speak, but it clears us a little later and eventually some drier air will work in through the day tomorrow. You might have noticed it's a little cooler again. We've got a little bit of a cooler northwesterly breeze developing as this front starts to move out of the area. That will pick up even more into tonight. It might get a little bit breezy overnight, but those winds will stay definitely subtropical storm force. We don't have to worry about anything on the caliber we saw with Helene's remnants or those storms last week. So again, overall conditions are improving. We're not worried about a flood risk tonight either. Again, we could see a heavier downpour here or there, but most of this rain we've seen today and anything tonight is going to be lighter. It's going to be scattered. And then again, we'll see a bit tomorrow morning. And then I'm thinking by the afternoon, we're really going to be drying out. Again, cooler, drier air working in from the northwest. Temperatures tomorrow should be in the mid to upper 60s, if not the low 70s. And again, once we get past tomorrow, we're in the home stretch. We've got high pressure working in. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we are looking drier. We should have some more sun come out, a little bit warmer as well. So finally, some better weather for those power crews to work in, too. Ben, I'll send things over to you.
Thank you, Catherine. Now we turn to Raleigh County, where we're continuing to follow the latest with prosecuting attorney Ben Hatfield. We've learned the domestic violence protective order violation filed against Hatfield was upheld yesterday in family court. The court agreed with the petitioner of the protective order that Hatfield had recently violated a previous protective order. That's by getting within 35 feet at a soccer game and behaving in what could be perceived as actions meant to intimidate or threaten the petitioner. Hatfield also under investigation related to allegations of sexual misconduct, emotional distress, and more, is now going to be barred from any type of communication, harassment, stalking, or intimidation of the petitioner. The order is in effect until the end of March of 2025, and Hatfield must surrender any firearms he possesses. Meanwhile, the Raleigh County Commission is now launching its own investigation into Hatfield. This comes in addition to one already underway since late August, led by the state's Commission of Special Investigations that is related to allegations of a hostile work environment, gender-based discrimination, and inappropriate harassment. Now, a statement released by the County Commission today reads in part, quote, based upon a letter received from 3 Raleigh County Circuit Court judges and some employees, we have initiated our own investigation into these complaints as it relates to the workplace. These matters are personnel related and we cannot comment any further at this time, end quote. Hatfield went on voluntary administrative leave during part of that first investigation. He returned to office late last month, saying he left to avoid hindering the investigation with his presence. Now we'll move to Charleston, where West Virginia lawmakers returned to town this week, and topping their agenda for a special session is a potential tax cut for your family. But as Curtis Johnson reports, for now the session ended almost as quickly as it began.
The gavel falling Monday. West Virginia lawmakers back in Charleston for special session. Governor Jim Justice calling upon lawmakers to consider 27 items, including an income tax cut for your family.
I'm 100% for it. In some form or fashion. I don't have any trouble with trying to get the money back to the people. And the government can do this and should do this.
The governor's proposal, a 5% income tax cut. If approved, that would be on top of a 4% cut already slated to hit your paycheck in January 2025 and a 21.25% cut received in 2023. Those cuts pass as part of a package that reduces the state's income tax with the speed of economic growth. This week's proposal would move faster, perhaps too fast for some lawmakers. Senate Finance Chairman Eric Tarr worries about the cost, noting other tax cuts and new spending that will soon hit the state's budget. To the average person sitting at the dinner table tonight, explain why the caution.
Because I want the tax cuts to go on in the future. And what we risk doing by cutting the income tax too aggressively is going back and having to raise taxes to cover the cost of government.
You believe we have plenty enough money to cover both the 4% and this 5% cut?
Yes. Or some form of the 5%.
Lawmakers took no significant action on the tax cut Monday, drawing criticism from the state's top Democrat, who said all sides should have been ready to act. Instead, House and Senate leaders pushing the matter to Sunday and early next week, when lawmakers were already scheduled to be in Charleston for other meetings. The delay, they say, saving taxpayers the expense of an extended special session. Reporting from the state capitol in Charleston, Curtis Johnson, back to you.
Now, the House and Senate passed 6 spending bills yesterday, sending each one to the governor. That does include more money for roads, a veterans home in Barbersville, and the Rockefeller Neuroscience Institute at West Virginia University. The special session will reconvene at 6 o'clock Sunday evening. Now, don't go away. After this quick break, Chief Meteorologist Catherine Thompson is back with a full look at this evening's forecast. Plus, a major labor movement is underway from Boston to Houston. Coming up, we'll tell you what we know and how it could impact you at home. Stick around.
From the 2 Virginia's news leader, this is WVVA News at 5.
Welcome back, everyone. Chief Meteorologist Catherine Thompson here. We've had a little bit of a gloomy day today, but at least no flooding rains or any severe weather to worry about, mainly just some lighter scattered showers. We have seen some occasionally heavy downpours. We're seeing a few right now across Union, Greenbrier counties. I know we had some heavy rain there yesterday too, so I'll be keeping my eye out for any flooding issues. But the good news is with this rain, not only is it a little bit lighter compared to yesterday, but it's on the move. We've got a front moving in, so these downpours are going. They're moving. They're not sitting and stalling and dumping a lot of rain in one place for a while, so we will take that. We've got this northwesterly wind flow steering these showers. In fact, we've got one shower there getting ready to close in on the station as we speak. And if we look at our Bluefield camera, you can see that really closing in on the East River Mountain camera now. The raindrops just now hitting the lens. At times, we will have a little bit of a breeze. You can see that on top of the mountain here. But again, no tropical storm force winds or anything on that caliber of what we saw last week. I do worry about still some weakened limbs and roots even are still compromised in the wet soil, so I'm not going to rule out even a few more limbs and branches at least coming down just because they're so weakened in a lot of places. But generally, we should not have any widespread issues to add on to what we're already dealing with recovery-wise. It's been cool today with clouds around as well. We'll stay mild and muggy through the night. Most of us have been sitting in the 60s and low 70s. We won't move much overnight. We'll dip it best into the upper 50s, low 60s. The winds, too, again, picking up a little bit. It might get a little bit breezy, but with winds coming out of the west-northwest, drier air gradually working in behind this frontal system. That's what's, again, got us a little unsettled today with these scattered showers. This will continue to push off to the east tomorrow, so by tomorrow night, I'm thinking we're pretty dry. Even through the day tomorrow, we're going to gradually dry out. Should see some breaks of sun. And then Thursday, we should see a lot more sun with more rain chances better to our south. Let's look at Futurecast. Again, overnight tonight, we'll still see a few more showers tonight. And again, low temperatures in the 50s, low 60s. Tomorrow, temperatures will be comparable to today. We'll still be in the upper 60s, low 70s. Still kind of cool, still kind of cloudy. And again, some last lingering showers around. But they're pretty much out of here by the time the sun is setting. Everything's kind of dried up. And we look nice as we head into the late week. A little bit warmer into late week, too. High pressure going to keep us dry, it looks like, through the weekend as well. The chance of rain staying low, even into early next week. It's not looking all that impressive. So we do have some time to dry out from all of this rain we got. I know we were in a drought. I know this rain has definitely helped alleviate that, at least. And we're looking forward. We have, again, some sun on the way. Ben?
Thank you, Catherine. Now it is time to turn to our weekly investigative piece here at 5. It's hard to tell which photos and videos on social media are real because of artificial intelligence. AI-generated images of U.S. soldiers are luring Americans to like, share, and comment. But our national investigative team discovered that some of those patriotic social media pages are actually run from foreign countries. Here's national investigative reporter Brandon Keefe with more.
Soldiers finally coming home. Combat wounded troops asking for a birthday wish. These images draw tens of thousands of likes, comments, and shares on social media. A semi loaded with American flags. A jetliner full of heroes flying to a D-Day commemoration. But look closer at the veterans' hands. Their plane has no aisle, while those returning troops are in cars with only one seat. These images are all AI generated, and they flood pages with names like Proudly American. We discovered these patriotic Facebook pages have U.S. addresses that don't exist and are actually managed overseas in foreign countries. This is cyber warfare.
It is.
Douglas Frazier retired from the U.S. Air Force as a 4-star general.
Carry on, please.
But he can also be found responding to comments on these AI images, telling older women they're pretty.
It's fake. I'm not on Facebook.
We found multiple General Frazier clones on social media, claiming to be widowers looking for love.
How many General Douglas Fraziers are on Facebook alone at any given time?
Well, my wife has recently checked, and she says right now there are 300 plus.
Impersonators of real U.S. generals appear all over the comments, many labeled government official. These generals directly ask widows to friend them.
That was my downfall right from the beginning, believing the first person that talked to me that he loved me.
Jeannie Wasserman thought she had fallen in love with a military officer stationed in the Middle East. He told her he needed money for a chopper ride out of Syria.
How much money did you end up sending him in total?
I think it comes out to $138,000. I really let my family down.
We obtained computer files labeled the Nigerian Scammer's Playbook that we verified as authentic. Page after page of background stories, love letters, instructions on how to fake video calls, and copy and paste responses that allow a scammer to cultivate a manufactured romance, one text at a time.
You thought you were talking to your future husband. In reality, you were talking to a script.
Mm-hmm.
There's breaking the bank, and then there's breaking your heart.
Yeah, and both of that happened.
To know that foreign scammers, foreign operatives are using your name and likeness to victimize Americans.
Well, it's heart-wrenching to me, mainly because of the impact it has on individuals.
General Frazier swore an oath that his clones did not. All enemies, foreign or domestic. Now he's facing artificial patriots, fake generals, and real victims.
We got a call from a lady, her mom, if I remember right, had killed herself because she'd given her whole life savings, 200,000 euros, to these scammers.
We called several numbers victims told us their scammers used.
Hi, this is Brendan Keefe. I'm an investigative reporter. We want to find out why you're scamming people, why you're pretending to be a military officer in the United States when you're actually overseas.
The text reply, send gift cards, then I will give you the whole story. We don't pay for the truth, even when others have paid for the lies.
Now, the U.S. Army says it reports hundreds of fake military office pages every single day. Facebook and Instagram's parent company, Meta, called these AI image pages engagement bait. And the company says it's a game of whack-a-mole with new fake clones of real generals popping up faster than Meta can take them down. Now, in major consumer news, soon it may be harder to find some of your favorite foods or your next potential car. That's because thousands of port workers from Boston to Houston are on strike as of just after midnight. This could potentially be the most disruptive strike the U.S. has experienced in more than 4 decades. Members of the International Longshoremen's Association walked off the job a minute after midnight early this morning. Among their demands, higher pay and a continuation of its current ban on fully automated equipment, ensuring job security at a time when many fear automation could reduce workforces. This move will cripple the transfer of a wide variety of goods, from bananas to beer, at cargo ports along the entire East and Gulf coasts. The Anderson Economic Group estimates a 1-week strike could cost the U.S. economy more than $2 billion. And depending on the length of the strike, consumers are likely going to see higher prices nationwide. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce sent a letter to President Biden calling for him to use the Taft-Hartley Act, which forces longshore workers back on the job. However, Biden refused to do so, telling reporters Sunday, quote, "It's collective bargaining," end quote. Now, don't go away. After this quick break, Chief Meteorologist Catherine Thompson has us covered with one final look at the forecast. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, everyone. A final look at the forecast. Temperatures eventually tonight hitting the 50s, low 60s, as we've been for the past few nights. Still muggy, still cloudy, still some showers. But this is lighter rain overall. We'll see a few isolated downpours, but the flood risk is pretty nil today, so that is good. As we head into the overnight hours tomorrow, again, a few more showers really through tomorrow morning. And then I think we'll start to kind of see some sun break out, at least some drier air moving in, and that rain will just taper through the day tomorrow. Most of us tomorrow a bit cooler still. We've got a cool northwesterly wind developing into late week for a bit, so tomorrow will be in the upper 60s, low 70s. Warmer, drier Thursday, Friday, and into the weekend. We look really nice. And we've got a bigger cool down next week. We could have some 30s and 40s next week as far as low temps go.
Wow. Well, all right. Thank you so much, Catherine. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in. As always, we will be back at 6 o'clock, of course. We'll have more news, sports, and weather coming right ahead. Join us there.